20 a.m. and 101.5 FM. In studio today we have Jennifer Lewis, PIO from Nevada State Contractors Board, and we're talking construction and contractors. And I guess during break, the line I want to put out there is don't wait for a problem. Call early, find out if your contractor's licensed. Go on the contracting website, which is
nscb.nv.gov,
and find out if this contractor you're talking to is licensed. There are a lot of people that'll go door to door and they're pulling scams on roofing, and what we're seeing a lot lately is solar. And we also have in studio Louise Helton with I got that wrong before.
One Sun Solar
One
Electric.
Sun Solar. That's what I was going to say, and I thought that was wrong. One Sun Solar. So welcome, Louise. Tell us a little bit about what's happening out there with scams and solar projects. I know we see things popping up on that just said Facebook, and I can't tell you how many people come to my door want to sell me solar door to door. We could talk about how to find solar, but let's talk about the scams first.
Well, and that's the thing that drives contractors like me absolutely crazy. You spend all of these years, decades, trying to build an industry and make it respectable, make it something that serves the community, and all you have to have is a few bad actors to come in and ruin it for all of us. So we really respect and appreciate all the hard work of the Contractors Board and the things that they do. And we appreciate the things that were done by the legislature last session that codify a number of things that are required in a solar contract, for example. But you know, just as we've been talking about, the minute that the legislation passed and net metering was back on, we had a flood of people coming in from all parts of the country, not from Nevada, coming in wanting to do business here with no licensing whatsoever. I can't even tell you how often I've stood in line at an electrical contracting business and looked at all these people buying solar materials to go and install on homes, only to follow them out into the parking lot and see their license plate from somewhere else with a notice on the side of their trucks saying that they're from Arizona, California, Utah. So these people there's a lot of bad actors who are coming in from out of state.
Well, one of the things we find in the consulting world, they say the further away your consultant is from, the more they're worth. So not the case with contractors.
No.
There's plenty of local contractors. You don't have to hire anybody from out of state to get pretty much anything done. My company does big projects, and we may have some specialty issues there. We have to hire a specific contractor from out of state. But the majority of the work, you should be able to get an in-state contractor done for almost anything. And I'm not going to say don't hire someone just because they're from out of state, but make sure they're licensed in this state.
And that's the problem. They're not necessarily licensed in this state. If you just scratch the surface, which is exactly what Jennifer is encouraging people to do. I've had calls from, I had a call from a woman in Wyoming whose elderly mother lived here. And she called me desperate to find out about this company that her mother was contracting with. She said, I can't find anything about them. Do you know anything? Can you help me? I mean, it's really criminal, literally.
Literally criminal. Again, don't wait for a problem.
Folks.
Check it out early on. Before you ever write a check, before you ever give them a dime, find out who they are. Get the references, make sure they're licensed. Even if they're licensed, make sure you get a reference from them.
Absolutely, and make sure who's coming to your door is representing a licensed place. It's very, very simple. The Contractors Board website, I can't tell you how user-friendly it is and how intuitive. Even if you only get one word right when you're querying an online search for a contractor, it will give you a full supply of contractors to consider till you find the one you're interested in, or you don't. And if you don't find them on their website, you do not do business with them, because they legally can't even pull a permit. You have to have a Nevada contractor's contracting license in order to pull a permit at any of the municipalities, or you're dead in the water. So, you know, you're just setting yourself up for trouble if you don't do a little bit of due diligence at the front end to make sure you're dealing with a licensed entity when you're doing anything like a solar installation, which very much require a permit.
Yeah, so any solar install is going to require a permit.
Absolutely.
Because, like you said, we're doing the life safety connections of electrical.
And NV Energy won't allow you to connect the system without seeing the permit has been finalized and approved.
So let's say someone gets tied in with the wrong contractor and they waited for a problem before they called the board. What kind of issues can happen on your roof if you're getting a solar install and you're not using a licensed contractor who doesn't know what they're doing?
It's unlimited. It is absolute
What kind of problems
unlimited
have you
nightmare.
seen?
I've seen systems that have not even been properly connected. I've seen roofs that have been ruined, where you actually, I've had people who've actually had light bulbs coming right through their ceiling where you can see them. It's remarkable. You'll have someone who's had their system installed, but they can't get it turned on because they didn't have the appropriate permitting. So they've paid someone to install the system, but now the system is worthless, and so they have to hire a licensed contractor like me to come in, license, get a permit and rework the whole thing to make sure that it's done properly, to correct all of the things that are wrong, and have it go through the proper permitting process.
And let me guess, that's going to cost more than it would have in the first place, right?
Absolutely. And again, it's just buyer beware. Please beware. Beware of all of those ridiculous claims that you find on your front door that say, NV Energy wants you to call this number and have solar installed by such and such a date, or any of the scams that you find on Facebook that say Clark County has a special program to offer you free solar. None of these claims are true or factual, but they're continuously out there, and people are falling for them.
So there's no free solar?
No.
You're kidding me.
Surprise.
I don't think anything's free these days.
If it sounds too good to be true, there's a reason for that.
Right.
It is too good to be true, and you're going to be stung, and you're going to be hurt. And in a situation like solar, where it can offer you so much good, it's also possible to be absolutely scammed.
So, as my mother used to say, don't believe anything you hear, only half of what you see. So that's a good rule when it comes to contracting. And I work in the contracting field, so I don't want to throw stones at contractors in general, but it's an arena that has a lot of bad actors in it.
It does, and you try to do the best due diligence you can as a consumer. I know I was just trying to help my folks with a fencing contractor, for example, and I can't tell you, I went through Angie's List and Yelp and House and a number of other places where the contractor has to pay to have those listings. And I went through several of them, writing down their license numbers that they purportedly had, only to go to the Contractors Board website and find that maybe those had been valid once, but they've been revoked, they've been dissolved, they're not active. And so you can't even rely on those types of things. The very best thing you can rely on is your own due diligence of going to the Contractors Board website. One of the things that they have on the Contractors Board website that I think is particularly useful for customers is that you can see if they've ever had an infraction, if they've had a complaint lodged against them. Because this is one of the things as a contractor, I'm very proud to say I've never had a complaint lodged against our company. And if I had, it would have been the most frightening thing ever, because it follows you. It's on the most credible source that you can possibly find to see if you're a qualified quality contractor, is on the contractor. They are the entity that that oversees this, so they're the ones who really know. If you've had an infraction or a violation and you've been found to have a problem, that's going to be on their website. So as a consumer, you can look at that. You can see what have they been up to, what have they been found guilty of. So first of all, you want to make sure they're listed, and second of all, you want to make sure they've got a good record with the Contractors Board.
Right, you could be licensed and have 50 lawsuits against you. That's not a good thing.
You could be licensed and not be actively licensed.
And to be in the construction business for multiple years and not have a lawsuit, that's a pretty big deal.
Thank you.
That should make you proud. And we're going to talk more about that when we come back to Shades of Green on KDWN 720 and 101 FM.